The sun was still high when I pulled into Daniel's driveway, its warm light splashing across the rows of cars that jammed the street. I remember thinking the whole thing felt unusually extravagant for a child's birthday. Balloons clustered in almost theatrical arrangements along the fence, matching banners hung with perfect symmetry, and a catering van idled near the curb like this was some corporate event rather than my grandson's 7th birthday party. The moment my feet hit the pavement, something inside me shifted, just a tiny tug at the back of my mind. A kind of unease I brushed off as overthinking. After all, today was supposed to be joyful. I clutched the wrapped Lego set tighter and forced myself to smile. When I stepped inside the house, laughter and chatter burst around me. Children ran past in packs. Adults carried trays of food, and a playlist of upbeat pop music thrummed through the living room. Everything looked perfect, too perfect. Daniel spotted me from across the room, raising a hand in greeting. His smile was wide, but not in the soft way he used to smile as a boy. No, this was the smile he used in business meetings. Too practiced, too polished. "Dad, you made it," he said, patting my shoulder in a way that felt strangely performative. "Good to see you. You invited me, didn't you?" I joked lightly, but he was already looking past me at someone else. Julia approached next, her arms full of cupcakes, and her voice bright and rehearsed. "Hi, Dad," she chirped. "Make yourself at home. Drinks are outside, snacks in the kitchen." She didn't wait for an answer. She swept away like a busy actress hitting her next mark. I moved slowly across the room, feeling, though I couldn't explain why, like a guest in a house I had once helped Daniel build. The noise, the crowd, the cheer, somehow it all pressed down on me in a way I couldn't quite name. Kids giggled around my legs as I walked toward the gift table. I placed the Lego set among the other presents and stepped back, admiring its bright wrapping paper. I imagined my grandson's face lighting up when he opened it, and my heart softened. That's when I felt the tug. A hand, small, trembling, gripped the sleeve of my jacket. I turned. Lily stood there, my granddaughter. 15 years old, usually sarcastic, bold, sometimes a little too honest, but never scared. Today, though she looked terrified, her face was pale, her eyes wide, her breath shaky. "Grandpa." She swallowed hard. "You have to leave, right now." My smile faded. "What? Why?" Her gaze darted around the room, scanning the adults near us, the kitchen doorway, the hallway. She looked like someone expecting a bomb to go off. "Lily," I whispered, "what's wrong?" "No time." Her fingers tightened around my wrist. "Please, please just go." A tremor ran through her whole body, and for a second she looked like a child again, small and fragile and desperate to be believed. My eyebrows furrowed. Did someone say something? Did someone hurt you? No, not me. She shook her head quickly, her hair bouncing with the movement. It's not about me." "Then what is it?" "I can't explain here." She breathed. "Grandpa, you have to trust me. If you stay, something awful is going to happen." She said it with such certainty, such raw fear, that my chest tightened. I looked around the room again. The adults chatting. Daniel laughing too loudly with a group of men I didn't recognize. Julia arranging cupcakes with that tense, practiced smile. The decorations, the crowd, the way everyone seemed positioned, placed, like a stage. "Lily," I said carefully, "you're scaring me." "Good," she whispered. "You should be scared." A chill ran through me. She glanced at the hallway again, as if expecting someone to appear. Then her voice dropped even lower, trembling at the edges. "They're waiting for you." My blood ran cold, though I still didn't fully understand. "Who?" I whispered. She bit her lip until it turned white. Tears filled her eyes. "Just trust me, please. You have to leave, right now." I didn't know what danger she meant. I didn't know who she meant by they. But I had known Lily her entire life. She wasn't dramatic. She wasn't someone who panicked easily. And the fear in her voice wasn't imagined. It was real, raw, bone, deep. I placed my hand gently over hers. Okay, I murmured, I trust you. She let out a shaky breath of relief. Without another word, I moved toward the side door that led to the yard. I walked as calmly as I could, trying not to draw attention, though my heartbeat thundered in my ears. Once, outside, I stepped quickly down the side path to the front yard and unlocked my car. As I sat in the driver's seat, I saw Lily appear briefly at the kitchen window. Her eyes met mine. She gave the smallest nod approval, gratitude, maybe warning. I started the engine. But before I could pull away, a sudden eruption of noise burst from inside the house, shouting, something crashing. A woman screaming, children crying. I froze, hands gripping the steering wheel. Moments later, sirens. At first distant, then growing louder, until police cars swarmed the street, 3 of them. Then a fourth, people were gathering outside, neighbors stepped out onto their porches, parents pulled their children close. A birthday party with police arriving, my stomach dropped. What had Lily saved me from? I sat there, watching through the windshield as officers rushed toward the front door of the house. A paramedic followed. Someone inside shouted something I couldn't make out. Then another scream. My pulse hammered painfully. Whatever the danger was, whatever trap had been waiting inside, I had escaped it by seconds. Because of one terrified girl whispering 5 shaking words, asterisk, asterisk, Grandpa, you have to leave. Asterisk, asterisk, I didn't know it yet, but that moment, her desperate warning, was the thin thread that kept my life from unraveling completely, and the truth behind it would break me in ways I wasn't prepared for. The next morning felt colder than it should have. The sun was bright, the sky was clear, but I woke with a weight on my chest that refused to lift, a pressure that had settled there the moment Lily told me to run. I tried calling Daniel several times, no answer, Julia too, straight to voicemail. Even the home phone was silent. It was as if the entire house had swallowed itself whole after the chaos. I spent the morning pacing the living room, replaying everything. Lily's pale face, the screams inside the house, the police cars, the way my hands had shaken on the steering wheel. Eventually my phone buzzed, a text from Lily, asterisk, meet me at Willow Park. Don't tell anyone, please. Asterisk, my heart clenched. I grabbed my coat and left immediately. Hash, 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 asterisk, asterisk. The park, asterisk, asterisk, Willow Park, was quiet that afternoon. Only a few parents with toddlers and a couple of joggers moved through the open space. Lily was sitting alone on a bench near the big willow tree that had stood there since before Daniel was born. She looked smaller today. Her hair was tied back in a messy ponytail, and she hugged her knees to her chest like she was trying to shrink from the world. When she saw me walking toward her, her eyes filled not with fear this time, but with guilt. I sat beside her. I'm here, tell me what's going on. She didn't speak at first. She stared at the grass, her fingers digging into the fabric of her jeans. After a long, shaky breath, she whispered, I'm so sorry, Grandpa. For what, sweetheart? For not telling you sooner. My stomach tightened. Telling me what? She swallowed hard and lifted her eyes to mine. They were glassy and frightened. Dad and Mom. Her voice broke. They were planning something against you. Every muscle in my body went still. I didn't speak. I didn't breathe. I simply waited, letting her find the courage. Lily's hands trembled in her lap. Last week, I overheard them talking in their room. I wasn't supposed to. I was looking for Mom's charger, and I heard them arguing. She blinked away tears. They were talking about money, about debts, about how they needed a way out. And then they started talking about you. A cold, electric feeling shot up my spine. What did they say about me? I asked quietly. She hesitated. Just for a heartbeat. They said they were going to make it look like you took money from them. Her voice dropped to a whisper. And like you hurt Ethan. My breath caught. My grandson. No. I said, my voice shaking. No, they wouldn't. They would. Lily forced the words out, tears spilling over. They already had people at the party who were going to say they saw you near the playroom. They said Mom would find an envelope in your coat pocket. Dad said it would look too real for the police to ignore. My mind recoiled, planted evidence, false witnesses, a staged accusation against me, my own son. I didn't understand at first. Lily whispered. I thought they were just talking. But then yesterday morning, I heard Mom telling Dad they'd tell people you shouted at Ethan last week when you visited, that you grabbed his arm. They were practicing what they'd say. I stared at her, unable to find words. I remembered that visit clearly. Ethan had climbed into my lap with a book. I had read him a story. He'd hugged me goodbye. How could Daniel twist something so innocent into something so monstrous? Lily continued, voice trembling. They said once the police were involved, once you were under investigation, you'd be forced to step down from managing your accounts. They said they could get control of the estate, the house, everything. The world around me blurred, the trees, the children's laughter in the distance. Even Lily's voice, my son, my own flesh and blood, had planned to destroy me for money. I felt something inside me tear. A quiet, deep rip that left everything hollow. Grandpa, Lily whispered, touching my arm, say something, please. I couldn't. Not yet. My throat felt full of gravel. I didn't know what to do. She cried. I didn't want to believe them. But when everyone showed up yesterday, those people I didn't know, the ones Mom said were Dad's business friends, they kept looking at the hallway where your coat was. My jaw clenched. They were waiting, Lily choked. Waiting for you to walk into the playroom so they could say Ethan was crying. Mom told one of the women how worried she was about leaving you alone with the kids. A sickening wave rolled through me. And that's why you told me to leave? I asked softly. She nodded, tears dripping down her cheeks. I didn't know how to stop it. I couldn't let them do that to you. Oh, sweetheart. I pulled her into my arms. She sobbed into my shoulder, heavy, shaking sobs of a child forced to carry a secret far too terrible for her age. I was scared, she whispered. I thought they'd be angry at me if they knew I warned you. I thought maybe they'd blame me too. You were brave, I murmured. Braver than anyone could ask. You saved me, Lily, you saved me. She leaned back, wiping her face. But I should have told you earlier, no. I cupped her cheek. You did exactly what you needed to do. But inside me, something was breaking. Something old and deep, something tied to decades of love, forgiveness, sacrifice, and hope. Because all that time, while I believed Daniel was simply distant, pressured, struggling, he had been planning to betray me. Lily hesitated before speaking again. Grandpa, there's more. My body tensed. What more? She looked down at her hands. Dad said, he said if the police took you in, he'd make sure you didn't get out easily. That he'd push for custody over everything. He said you were old and easy to break. The words hit me like ice water. Old, easy to break. He saw me as a burden, a target, a stepping stone. My son. I closed my eyes. A sharp ache spread across my chest, not physical pain, but something deeper, something spiritual. Betrayal, pure, devastating betrayal. When I opened my eyes again, Lily was watching me with fear. Not of me, but for me. What are you going to do? She whispered. I took a slow, steady breath. I don't know yet, I said honestly. But I promise you this, Lily. I won't let them hurt you either. She nodded weakly, biting her lip. The wind brushed through the willow branches above us, scattering leaves across the grass. For a long moment, we sat in silence. I stared at the ground, trying to understand how a son I'd raised with everything I had, everything I knew, could turn into someone who would plan something so cruel, so calculated, so unforgivable. Finally, I spoke. Lily, I said softly, I need you to tell me everything you heard, every detail, every name. She wiped her tears and nodded. I remember all of it, she said. I'll tell you everything. And she did. With each word she spoke, my heart hardened, not with rage, but with resolve. A slow, cold determination that settled into my bones like winter frost. Daniel had wanted to break me. He had underestimated me. He had underestimated the girl sitting beside me. and he had underestimated the strength of a man who had just discovered the truth. A truth that would change everything. The night after my conversation with Lily, I didn't sleep, not even for a moment. I sat in my dimly lit living room while the shadows stretched across the carpet. The clock ticked loudly, too loudly, reminding me of each second that passed while the truth gnawed deeper into my bones. Daniel had tried to destroy me, and not in a moment of anger or desperation. No, he had planned it, crafted it, practiced his lies with the mother of his children, as if preparing for a performance. My son, my only son. The ache inside me was raw at first: sorrow, disbelief, heartbreak. But slowly, hour by hour, something else began to grow in its place. Something sharper, colder, cleaner, resolve. Because if Daniel believed age made me easy to break, then he clearly didn't know his own father at all. The first step. The lawyer at sunrise. I made coffee, not to drink, but out of habit. I ended up forgetting it on the counter. Then I made the call, Margaret. I said as soon as she answered, "We need to meet today, urgently." She heard the tension in my voice. "Come in now." Margaret had been my lawyer for more than a decade, sharp as a blade, fearless, practical, and not easily shocked. But even she set down her pen slowly as I explained everything: Lily's warning, the planted evidence, the staged accusations, Daniel's debts, the witnesses at the party. She leaned back, eyes narrowed but burning with focus. "Your son wasn't just trying to humiliate you," she said. "He was preparing a legal trap. If the police had been alerted under those circumstances, you could have been detained, possibly charged." "I know," I said quietly. "You could have lost control of your accounts, your property, your legacy." "I know." She exhaled sharply. "Then we gather proof, everything. We build a wall so tall they can't climb over it, and a case so strong they can't talk their way out of it." I nodded. "And if you choose," she added carefully, "we can build something else. A weapon." A slow, steady fire lit inside me. "Yes," I murmured, "we will." The second step. The loyal granddaughter that weekend, Lily came to my house under the excuse of helping me paint the shed. A lie she fed to her parents without blinking. She was pale but determined. "Grandpa, I found more," she whispered as soon as she stepped inside. She pulled a small USB drive from her jacket. "My parents were arguing last night, really loudly. I used my phone's recorder. I didn't mean to at first, but then they started talking about you again." Her hands trembled as she passed me the drive. "Was it dangerous for you to do this?" I asked. She shrugged, trying to look brave. "I don't care, they're wrong, and you don't deserve this." Her loyalty struck me so deeply, I had to look away for a moment. What kind of home had she been living in, that she felt safer telling me her parents' secrets than telling them her fears? We listened to the recording together, Daniel's voice harsh, angry, desperate. "He'll crack if the cops press him. He's old, he hates conflict." Julia's voice sharp and bitter. "We're doing this for the family. If he loved us, he'd give us the house willingly. This is just pushing him." Then Daniel again, dark and certain. "He won't see it coming. One accusation, and he's done." Lily flinched at her father's voice. I felt something inside me shift, not break, not shatter, but harden, like steel cooling into shape. "Lily," I said gently, "you're safe with me, always." She leaned against me, tired and sad. "I wish he wasn't like this. I wish he was good." I kissed the top of her head. "Sometimes people choose darkness, but that doesn't mean we let them burn others in the process." The third step. The investigation Margaret worked faster than I'd ever seen her. She pulled Daniel's financial statements, bank records, business filings. The picture she pieced together was worse than I imagined. He was drowning in debt: bank loans, credit cards, private lenders, even casino markers. His business was collapsing from the inside out, riddled with irregularities and unfiled taxes. He had been using my name without authorization on certain documents, fraud, forgery, illegal credit extensions. I stared at the papers spread across Margaret's desk, each a new knife to the heart. He planned to use the accusation to force you out of the way. Margaret said quietly, "With you discredited or detained, he could access certain trust funds you manage, and he could claim you were mentally unfit to handle your estate." My stomach churned. And worse, she added, he needed a public show. The birthday party was the perfect stage. I closed my eyes. My son had turned a child's celebration into a weapon. How monstrous did one have to be? When I opened my eyes again, the sorrow was still there, but it sat behind something heavier, asterisk asterisk purpose. Asterisk asterisk hash 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 asterisk asterisk, the fourth step. The trap asterisk asterisk to protect myself, I needed evidence. To deliver justice, I needed exposure. Margaret and I planned silently, carefully, like two people building a fortress brick by brick. Step by step: 1. Gather every incriminating recording Lily could obtain. 2. Save screenshots of text messages Lily shared. 3. Acquire official financial statements proving Daniel's illegal actions. 4. Document every time he used my name without permission. 5. Prepare legal witnesses. 6. Notify a close friend in the police department discreetly, but something was still missing. Something to break Daniel's confidence so thoroughly that he wouldn't escape with excuses. Then Lily supplied the missing piece. She came over with red eyes and a tight jaw. "They're planning to confront you again," she whispered. "At the next family gathering, they think you're embarrassed or guilty for running away. They think you'll be calmer now. Dad wants to finish what he started." She wiped her eyes angrily. "They're not stopping." I squeezed her hand. "Then neither will I." So we set the stage. If Daniel wanted a family gathering, we would give him one. Except this time, his business partners would be present. A police officer would be coincidentally visiting me. Margaret would be sitting calmly in the corner, and every shred of truth would be laid out like a blade. Not in rage, not in chaos, but calmly, publicly, legally, the kind of truth you can't run from. Hash 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 asterisk asterisk, the final prep. The calm before the storm, asterisk asterisk, the night before the confrontation. I sat alone on my back porch, the cool air brushing against my skin. Old memories drifted through me. Daniel as a boy, running toward me with his arms stretched wide, him asking for help with homework, sleeping on my chest when he was sick, laughing as we fixed the garage together. When had he changed? Had he always had this darkness inside him, waiting for pressure to crack him open? Or had I failed him somehow? But no, even then I knew the truth. Daniel's choices were Daniel's alone. And now I wasn't fighting just for myself. I was fighting for Lily, too, for the child who still lived in that house full of secrets and shouting and blame. And I was fighting for the man I refused to let Daniel turn me into broken, frightened, manipulated. I took a deep breath and exhaled slowly. Tomorrow the truth would finally rise. Tomorrow I would watch my sons' lies collapse under the weight of their own poison. Not with vengeance in my heart, but with justice in my hands. The day of the gathering arrived with an unnatural stillness in the air. No breeze, no birdsong, not even the usual hum of traffic outside my window. It felt like the world itself was holding its breath. I stood in my living room, looking at the neatly arranged chairs, the tray of drinks, the soft lamp light filling the space with a warmth that didn't reach my chest. This wasn't a celebration. This wasn't a family reunion. This was a reckoning. Margaret sat in a corner, her briefcase at her feet, legs crossed, composed as ever. She looked like a judge waiting for court to begin. Beside her sat Officer Hale, a longtime friend off duty but attentive. He'd agreed to be here in case things turned ugly. He had a calm expression, but his eyes were sharp. Lily hovered near me in the hallway, twisting the end of her sleeve anxiously. She'd insisted on being here, though I'd tried to spare her. But she was determined. "I want to see it," she said. I want them to hear the truth, so I let her stay. At 5:47 p.m., the doorbell rang. My heart clenched, but my hands stayed steady. Showtime. ****, the entrance ****. Daniel walked in first, wearing a smile that reached his lips but not his eyes. A charming smile, one he used when he wanted to manipulate people. Julia trailed behind, tense and visibly wary, as if she suspected something but didn't dare vocalize it. Behind them, two of Daniel's business partners stepped in, men I had invited under the pretense of discussing a financial matter. They greeted me courteously, unaware of the storm about to hit. "Dad," Daniel said, stepping forward like nothing had happened, "I'm glad you're feeling better. We were worried after the incident at the party." "The incident?" I repeated calmly. "Yes," Julia added with a forced tone of concern. "You seemed disoriented. The children were frightened." Margaret snorted softly, subtle, but enough for Julia to glance at her. Daniel frowned. "And who are they?" "Guests," I said smoothly. "You'll see why they're here soon." Daniel's confusion flickered with irritation. "Dad, if this is about the party, we can talk privately." "No," I said, my voice steady. "Today we speak openly." Daniel blinked, startled by my firmness. He'd expected me to be timid, ashamed, defensive. Not today. He took a seat slowly, eyes scanning the unfamiliar faces. Julia sat beside him, stiff and nervous, clutching her purse so tightly her knuckles whitened. "Let's begin," I said. ###, the first blow. The recordings ****. I walked to the small speaker on the table, pressed a button, and Lily's voice whispered through the room. "Dad, Mom, why are you doing this to Grandpa?" Julia's head snapped toward Lily. "What is that?" Before she could stand, Daniel's voice followed, cold, unmistakable. "He's easy to break. If the police think he hurt Ethan, he'll be investigated. Once he's under pressure, we'll push for his accounts. It's the only way out of this debt." The room went still, dead still. Julia's hand flew to her mouth. "Turn that off." I hit play again. Julia's voice rang out, bitter and calculated. "He'll believe anything we say. And people already think he's getting forgetful. This will work." Daniel stood abruptly. "This is illegal. You can't record. Sit down." Officer Hale said quietly. Daniel froze. I pressed a third recording, one Lily had captured during the argument 2 nights after the party. "Julia, we have to finish it before he realizes what happened. The next family gathering, keep it talking while I find the envelope in his coat." Daniel, "Good. Once Dad's taken in, I'll handle the trust accounts." The silence that followed was heavier than stone. Julia broke first. "Those recordings are taken out of context," she cried. "We were under stress. Stress doesn't make people plan crimes." Margaret said sharply. Daniel glared at her. "Who are you to accuse us? Your father's attorney." She replied calmly. "And the woman who will be representing him in all forthcoming actions related to fraud, conspiracy, and attempted coercion." His face drained of color. ###, the second blow. The evidence ****, I placed a thick folder of documents on the coffee table. Bank statements, forged signatures, loan records with my name illegally attached, emails, texts. Margaret slid a few pages toward Daniel's business partners. One leaned forward, squinting at the papers. His expression morphed from curiosity to horror to fury. "What the hell is this?" he demanded. Daniel's jaw tightened. You can't prove." "Oh, but we can," Margaret said, tapping another file. "These documents came directly from the bank, and these," she lifted the printed emails, "from your assistant, who was very cooperative once she realized she could be implicated." Julia looked at Daniel sharply. "Daniel, what is she talking about?" He didn't answer. His silence spoke louder than any confession. ###, the third blow. The witness ****, Officer Hale cleared his throat. "Mr. Bennett," he said, addressing Daniel, "there are ongoing investigations related to unauthorized use of your father's identity. You and your wife may be called in for questioning soon." Julia's face went white. Daniel stared at the officer, then at me, eyes wide, stunned. "You did this," he whispered. "You're trying to ruin us." I looked at him, really looked at him. My son, the boy I once carried on my shoulders, now a man who had willingly set a trap for me. "I didn't ruin you, Daniel," I said softly. "You ruined yourself. ***, the collapse ***, something in him broke. He sank into the sofa, face buried in his hands. His shoulders shook not in remorse, not in understanding, but in raw fear. Fear of consequences, fear of exposure, fear of losing everything he tried to steal. Julia turned on him with a cracked voice. "You said it was under control. You told me we wouldn't get caught." Her panic shifted to anger, the mask finally falling away. She wasn't worried for me. She wasn't even worried for her children. She was worried about herself. One of Daniel's business partners stood abruptly. "We're done," he spat. "Your involvement in any of this, we're notifying the board." The other partner nodded, disgusted. "You're finished, Daniel." They walked out without another word. Julia followed or tried to, but Hale stopped her long enough to say, "Expect a formal visit soon." She stormed out in tears. Finally, only Daniel remained. He looked up at me, eyes bloodshot, face hollow. "Dad," his voice wavered. "Dad, please, I messed up. I was desperate. I didn't mean it, yes." I said quietly, "You did." He stared at me, broken. "Please don't let them take everything. I'm your son." The words hit me like a blade. Not because they were true, but because they were a weapon he had always assumed he could use. Lily stepped forward, voice steady. "You tried to hurt him. You tried to hurt all of us." Daniel looked at her, startled by her presence, by her bravery. His lip trembled. "Lily, sweetheart." She shook her head fiercely. "No, don't call me that. Not after what you did." His face collapsed. I felt no triumph, no victory, only sorrow, old, tired, crushing sorrow. "I won't destroy you," I said finally. "I won't do what you tried to do to me." Relief flickered in his eyes. "But I will protect myself. And I will protect Lily. Whatever happens next, you brought on yourself." The relief vanished. When Officer Hale guided him outside, Daniel didn't resist. He didn't speak. He just followed with slow, defeated steps. Like a man walking through the ashes of a fire, he'd started himself. ***, the aftermath ***. Once the door closed, the house fell silent. Lily stood beside me, breathing hard, her eyes shining not with tears, but with release. "It's over," she whispered. I placed a hand gently on her shoulder. "It's over," I echoed, but truthfully something lingered in the air. The grief of a father who had lost his son long before this moment. The pride of a grandfather who had gained an ally in the bravest child he'd ever known. The hollow ache of betrayal mixed with the quiet strength of survival. Lily leaned against me, exhausted. "Grandpa, thank you, no," I said softly, holding her close. "Thank you. You saved me." We stood there in the quiet room, surrounded by evidence, silence, and truth. And though justice had finally been served, I knew the scars would stay with us, but so would we, stronger, wiser, united, and unbroken.